All right, so welcome to the game. Here we are on the top right-hand corner of the map Cloud Kingdom, a map which actually a lot of Terrans are very happy to play on against the Zerg. Guys, the Zerg player from Team SCV Life, Ragnarok, managed to secure a win to put his team up 1-0 thus far. In the bottom left-hand corner, the orange Terran player from the team FXO. It is the best. It's going to try to even this series up.
That's right. I apologize for any sort of indigestion that escapes on air. I had copious amounts of bibimbap and kimchi for lunch, so so tasty. But
I am definitely going to still have to try that.
Yes.
I had bulgogi for the first time. Actually, the day I arrived in SFO, my friend took me out to Korean barbecue. It was phenomenal. Oh my God, they cook the bulgogi right next to you. It's just like so fresh. But it is doji bulgogi, yeah, not deji. The pork version?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I had that for the first time today for lunch. And
nice.
That was insanely good.
I love bibimbap. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite foods out there.
So what is bibimbap, you said?
Bibimbap.
Bibimbap.
Yes.
Okay.
I always called it. So
just good. You know, that helped the viewers too, because I was probably like, what's this called?
Very simple rice dish with pickled vegetables and, well, in my case, beef, and then a nice fried egg on top. So delicious stuff. You mix in a lot of hot sauce, and you have a good lunch. But enough about food. Enough about Korean food. Let's talk about Korean players. As we have the best now.
Those segues. Damn.
So good, Adam. We have, obviously, one Rax Castle's fastest man coming up for the best. Nothing really out of the ordinary here. You know, a lot of players will choose to actually go mech on this map, too, because you can control a lot of the running paths through the middle of the map, also from the natural to the third. Pretty easy to watch things with just a couple of siege tanks. And I really enjoy, I mean, obviously, I prefer mech in pretty much all matchups. Obviously, it has yet to find its feet in versus Protoss, even though it's still fun to watch. So,
actually, have you seen Last Shadow versus MC?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Goody, but yes, I know what the I know the match you're referring to. Yes,
that was. If you guys haven't seen that, it was an extremely interesting match in which a player very, very effectively utilized a Thor composition with 200mm cannons and decimated MC, who used Immortals to reply to the mech. Yeah, it kind of just locks down the mortals. It was really cool.
Well, I don't know if you remember from GSL Open 3, I believe it was, when Jinro made the semifinals, or it was in his quarterfinal match, and he was actually going up against MC. This was either the January season, or this was the last of the Open season. I forget which one it was, but he was going up against MC. The map was actually Scrap Station, and Jinro made nothing but Thors. MC made nothing but Immortals. And Tasels and Artos were like, oh, there's no way that Jinro can win this. And Jinro just smashed face with 250mm cannons. So
yeah. The stun effect is really, really powerful. So either way, guys, we are now in a TVZ talking about how we love mech. If you're wondering how we got onto that topic, you're just tuning in.
Oh, look at that. That's so smart. Bess actually pulled an SCV over just to make sure you wouldn't lose vision of the Overlord at all. Just small little things you can do for yourself.
And you could be thinking, you know, that the Overlord's dead no matter what. Why lose the mining time? But it's more important to kill the Overlord quickly so that it has the possibility of of supply blocking your opponent, as opposed to them knowing, okay, this Overlord's dead, I might as well start up other ones and having a lot more time. So that was really, really nice out of the best, of course.
Well, Ragnarok decided to get gas pretty early, so this is closer to what someone like Hyun decides to do than someone like a lot of foreign Zerg players that have been choosing to still go for that 4-queen build, things like that, to start games off. So, you know, Ragnarok going to make sure that he invests into his speed, he can put on some pressure. Best is already ready for that, though. I mean, he's got the bunker constructed outside of his natural. It's actually tucked. If you can take a look at his natural here real quick. Yeah, you can see how he's already buried in the back, and he's got the supply depot to make sure that there's as little surface area as possible.
Not going to be the easiest thing to harass this natural expansion. Now, it does, of course, leave him a little bit open on the front end of things. But, you know, I would venture to say he plans on keeping his opponent nice and tucked away in their base, as we do see. He's going for a Tech Lab as well as Hellions. So Hellion Banshee opening, looking like what we're going to be seeing from Ragnarok. And, you know, on Cloud Kingdom, it is pretty effective. You have a lot of ability to harass the third base, run immediately into the main, and at the same time, you can run Hellions up into the natural expansion. And it can be a little bit tough to deal with if you're a Zerg player who's unaccustomed to it. But Ragnarok, we're going to have to see. Right now, his Zerglings are not in position to deal with the Hellions, but he's got the creep spread at the front. And, I mean, he should be fine here in the initial waves.
I'm always interested to see how teammates perform in different circumstances, as Ragnarok's actually going to try and put on a little pressure here, but, of course, pulling back to that bunker, he keeps all of his SCVs alive. Obviously, Ragnarok's teammate is Hyun. We've seen a lot of Hyun's DBZ over the past, 13 weeks of Fight Club, and Hyun decides to go through a little bit different approach here. Those Devil Evolution Chambers you see coming up, he puts those up before the Roach Warren, but he still makes the round of 7 to 8 Roaches to try and catch any forces through the middle part of this game as things start to get going. So Ragnarok's taking a similar approach as his teammates, but he's got some pretty decent tweaks in there to make sure that things are sufficiently different from what Hyun does.
Yeah, this is actually a build that I've seen from Dongregu, where he used on Cloud Kingdom specifically. You go for the hatchery, follow it up with the 4 Roaches, but the important part is you go for the hatchery very greedily beforehand, and it works exceptionally well against openings like this, because you get so much more creep spread quickly. You have a lot of time to build spore crawlers and things of that nature, but guys, hold that thought. There is a big push coming out right now from FXO the Best and Ragnarok. What does he have in order to deal with this? Well, he's got some Zerglings coming in for a counterattack, but as we were talking about earlier, the harassment potential of these is extremely limited.
And Ragnarok just bounced over there. Before he saw 8 SCVs, now he sees 2, and I wonder how he's going to react to this. He's already putting up 8 Roaches now. He's continuing to increase his Queen count, so he can do something about the Banshees that are in the air. 1 armory going down for Ragnarok for the Best at the moment. He may decide to transition to mech out of this, but right now, the Roaches are swinging in, and there's still an awful lot of DPS here in this army from the Best, who has been able to successfully attack this before the rest of the forces did decide to actually join up. So the Roaches are getting pretty low, but the Banshee has to swing out of range of the Spore Crawler, successfully going to do so, and it looks like Ragnarok is going to have enough to hold this back, but got awfully close there for a while, and now the Best is actually in kind of a bad situation.
Yeah, that was an extremely invested attack. You take a look at the worker supply at this moment, guys, it is 33 to 54. There is almost nothing on the field left for FXO's the Best versus 11 Roaches and 3 Queens with 13 Zerglings. These 2 Banshees are going to have extremely limited harassment potential, as there's the one is extremely low in hit points. The other one's a little bit above half.
Yeah, and still, Ragnarok continues to put pressure on this base. Looks like there is a 3rd command center that's finally coming up for the Best as he invests into his mech build with 2 more factories coming up. But the problem is that that's very far behind at this stage of the game. You really want to have that up, or at least if you know you were going to lose that much and not do any economic damage, you wanted that to be in place you could recover very quickly with triple SCVs and triple mules. But unfortunately, the Best just doesn't have that luxury.
Now, I'm curious if we're going to see a Spire out of the Best here, or out of Ragnarok, excuse me. The Best, he's kind of got to go into siege tank production here because his army just got obliterated by a large quantity of Roaches. There's a distinct possibility that Ragnarok can come for a very powerful timing here. And, if you don't, and it looks like he is going to make Thor, so maybe even anticipating this this Spire transition. And this is just such a gamble for the Best. He really needs to get in there and get some information because right now he's investing into Thor, and we see plus 1 weapons, plus 2 carapace, and Galil Reconstitution on the way. If he's got a lot of Thor and Hellion, he's not going to fare all that well if a good Roach timing does hit.
And the Best, unfortunately, supply blocked himself. He just had to call down supplies and build 2 supply depots at the same time. So, unfortunate for him, but Ragnarok, he's going to be content to sit on his 3 bases for now, continue to tech up. We've seen that actually out of TSL Zergs quite a bit, is that they have had a tendency to play on less bases and tech up a bit more aggressively than you would normally see. So, Overseer not really going to take a look at a lot in terms of what's on the base, but it does reveal the Thors that are out very early. So, it still gets valuable information.
No, it definitely does. And I do expect those to just be an initial 2 Thor, and then, siege tanks following up now. Because, you want the Thor in case that fast Spire tech did hit. But here's the thing. So, he's got Zerglings in position. It looks like Ragnarok's actually going to go for this 4th base. A little bit surprised that he saw the extremely fast Thor, and we don't, well, actually now he's ramping up a lot of Roaches because he was taking this 4th. It looked like he was going to try to play a macro style. Look how oversaturated this 3rd base is. Wow, that is actually 2 bases of saturation almost on here. He'll be quickly sending them to this 4th, but yeah, I expect a really strong timing here out of Ragnarok in just a moment.
What is his worker count, if you don't mind me asking?
93.
Wow, okay. Well, that's quite a few. It's going to give him the ability to replace this army very quickly, so we can see how many resources he's actually accumulating while he continues to increase his Overlord count. But I like the fact that he's investing in upgrades. I'm surprised that we haven't seen Hive quite yet, if nothing else than just for purely upgrades. And Roaches are going to start trying to put on pressure now, which is not a bad idea. You want to start attacking your opponent before he's able to get his mech production off the ground. But the problem is, if you even cost inefficiently trade once, the siege tanks will get in good enough position that they can start to rally back, and it gives the meching opponent an honest-to-God chance in the game. And Ragnarok may have done that. He didn't really get a whole lot there, and he lost a lot of Roaches.
Well, he's got Burrow, so at this stage, I mean, he's sitting on, we were talking about it earlier, 91 workers at this point. Burrow some of these Roaches, heal them back up, and go in and do even more damage, because the reality is the siege tank count is 2 right now. It's the Banshees that were doing all this damage, and honestly, I mean, the Roaches, especially with the weapons upgrade, are going to do a lot of damage. Hellions going to get caught here by some Zerglings. I do not like the position that Best is currently in. He's extremely vulnerable. We see all his siege tanks are actually pinned on the top because he's spread so thin.
He is, but here's kind of the inherent advantage we were talking about of this position, is that this spot is very easy to hold. Take a look at his natural, too. He's got a clever little defense set up there outside of his natural.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no problem. So he's already got that supply depot walled off in multiple spots and creates a very small choke point that units actually have to run through. So he's done a nice job of being able to hold this position. We'll see if he can do it now. He's got to pull some SCVs, because otherwise splash damage will kill too many workers. But no, I mean, this is relatively weak units that are starting to chug their way out for Ragnarok. They can't really do anything to break this position.
No, he can't. You know, you pointed out this supply depot wall off. It makes it so difficult for run-bys, which, of course, that bunker is gone at this stage. So they would be, they would have used to them, but with that wall off, with the siege tanks, it's just very, very difficult for Ragnarok to get anything done in terms of harassment. As such, we see him teching up to Hive with a Spire on the way. We're going to see Broodlords following this up in the near future, and 10 Spine Crawlers going down in order to try to prevent the loss in a base race situation.
Okay, well, you know, that Spine Crawler was so necessary, especially when you had 93 workers to your name just a second ago. He decides to make another couple there to replace some of the ones that he lost, but still sitting on 87 workers. And really, honestly, the Best is on a pretty good number, too. 70 workers. He's going to be on 4 base here in just a bit whenever he finishes up this next command center, and that's going to be sufficient with the number of mules that he'll have. So both players are kind of just sitting back, playing for the super late game. I would assume that Ragnarok's going to try and test the water somewhere else to free up some supply so we can make room for these Ultralisks and these Broodlords here in just a second. And that's probably all the action we're going to see for a while.
Yeah, a large bank coming in for Ragnarok, so no surprise to see him teching towards multiple routes. He's also working on the melee and ranged attack upgrades right now. Ragnarok, I mean, the longer he makes it, he's just going to get so powerful. But +3 is also on the way for the Best. Roach is going to be caught a little bit right now by some Banshees. It looks like he is not content to throw them away. In fact, going to be fleeing here from these Hellions.
There are a million Spine Crawlers out there right now, which is kind of cool. Oh, Blue Flame Hellions do so much damage to Zerglings. It's gross. But we can see there's that many Spine Crawlers. There's some over at the 4th base as well. So he's got a pretty good delay mechanism that's built in here as he starts to assimilate his large Corruptor force. But, you know, Ragnarok's been sitting on a very weak force for a long time. There's much more cost-efficient units out there for the Best. But this is the problem, is that he's actually going to attack at the same time. He's actually taking economic damage back at home. And if Ragnarok can delay for long enough to actually get up a couple of Broodlords, he may be in a position just to be able to outright hold this off.
Yeah, we see 9 Corruptors on the way right now. Chitin is plating as well. There are 4 Ultralisks starting up. He needs to lose some more of these units if he intends to reproduce. No, he's just going to take out the 3rd and then come home to try to defend. We can see the drones transferring over. He's got this expansion over here that he can mine from instead. He's going to sack this 4th base and then try to clean up this army. We'll see if that plan works as 5 Ultralisks are getting ready. He actually just canceled a few of the Ultras, so it looks like he is going, nope, he started them up again, or did they finish? No, they didn't finish, so
yeah, he
just canceled.
The larvae may have actually been killed, because I think they were over at the, some of them were building over at the 4th base, so I think the larvae were actually killed. But yeah, Chitinous Plating is going to finish, like you said. The Ultras are on the way. The Corruptors are already in the air. He could turn those over into Broodlords pretty quickly. But the Best now is in kind of a precarious situation. He's limited at 2 base economy. That nice new command center that he had just built for himself now has to just simply replace the 3rd that he already has on the field. And he hasn't been able to land this yet because of the Burrowed Roach. There we go. And he will be in a little bit better situation, but, he really needs to start getting some bases and hold off another massive attack or two from Ragnarok.
Oh, the best was not ready for this attack. We see none of his tanks siege at the moment. It looks like he is not even going to bother sieging them, just wants to make sure that the tanks do maximum DPS here against the large Ultralisk units where Splash is not effective, but it just doesn't even seem to matter. There are so many infested Terrans here, dicking out absolutely everything that the best loves and owns, and wow.
Hey guys,
absolutely cleaned up.
Infested Terrans are really good, by the way. I just want to put that out there. Infested Terrans are really good when used effectively, and that was a brilliant use of Infested Terrans. He just drops everything behind, surrounds the units, and ensures that the best can't actually retreat, and now he's reproducing on Infestors. All right, doesn't even matter. There's GG from the best, and Ragnarok has taken out 2 of FXO players in a row to start this match.
Extremely impressive. I mean, this is a situation where once again in the early game, got himself a lead, and then just realized the benefits of that lead really, really well. We saw him poking him with the Roaches, just being like, look, I have a huge economy. You're on 3 bases. I'm going to be on 4 in half a second here. Saturated 4 bases. I love that he came in with the Roaches so much. Like, his opponent had 2 siege tanks because he tried to rush for those Thor.
Right.
And then he punished him because he was like, actually, Thor's the complete wrong response because I didn't go Muta.
And there it is. He was punished. You're right. I mean, that's the best way to put it. So there we have it. Ragnarok's taken 2 games, though, for TSL. They haven't even had to reach into their big guns yet. And who's coming up next for FXO? It's going to be Lucky, actually the IPL 3 runner-up, a very good player himself. So we are going to run to a quick commercial break. When we get back, we're going to have Lucky coming in up next against Ragnarok, back to ZVC, and we'll be back after this.